What is going on, everybody? It's me, Mr. Morfetto, and today I want to talk about the Skypiea Arc of One Piece. I just finished reading it, finally. Damn, it was long, but now I am over 300 chapters into the One Piece, this adventure, this grand piratey fun that I've had over the last few months, and I've got to say, this is one of my absolute favorite stories so far. It actually took me a while to warm up to what was actually going on at first. When I first heard about a island in the sky, I'll be honest, I was a bit skeptical. I was like, well, that's kind of out of nowhere and unbelievable. But at the same time, I had to really take a step back. And remember that this world, One Piece, this grand line is full of shark people, is full of people with devil fruit abilities that can vary in many ways. So, I mean, an island in the sky is really not too far out of the box there. And I also need to accept that this One Piece world is full of random shit that'll come out of nowhere, and I feel like this is just the beginning. I mean, it did feel like a stretch that they could have an island in the sky, and there was a lot of elements like the stream. I can't remember the name of it. The stream that shoots them up into the sky. I'm like, where does that come from? How does that happen? Why? Why does it shoot things into the sky? How did it shoot a whole chunk of an island into the sky? It just does. The knock-up stream, yeah. But it just does, and you need to accept that. I had a pretty good time with this. I last left off talking about the Jaya Arc, and now we're into the Skypiea world. The Straw Hats arrive in the island in the sky. I think they call it the white ocean or something. They ended up in like the level before they get to actual Skypiea. They almost get attacked, but are saved by the Sky Knight Ganfor, who used to be the former Kami of this island. And Kami is something that I recognize from Dragon Ball as the guardian of Earth, and I think it also means God. Pretty sure it's just God. And so he used to be a god of Earth. We don't learn that at first. We do learn that there's some shit going down here in Skypiea. They run into a lady named Conus and her father. They are very welcoming. They try to trick them at some point. They actually end up in Skypiea illegally because they didn't pay the toll to get in. And I am curious if they actually paid the exels, I think they were called, like 1 billion exels per person, I think it was. Would they be okay? Would they be allowed in? Who would have that kind of money, especially if you're not from that world? And plus, we don't even know how much an exel or how much their currency is worth to them. It's very interesting. Like, if they happen to have the money to get in, would they just be accepted with open arms? I'm not sure too much about that. They make it to Skypiea. They find out about things called dials, which are pretty cool, that power like jet skis, and they power weapons. They can be used in many different ways, and they're kind of like little engines in a way. And those are pretty cool. I assume those are going to be one of the big things that comes out of this arc that they'll use going forward, because I know at the end of this arc, Usopp ends up with some of these bad boys, and I assume that he's going to build weapons with them, or things that he can use in combat. I mean, Usopp made the weapon Nami uses that controls weather in a weird way, and other weird things it does, and he made that himself without dials, without any real magical items. He just invented it. And to me, now that he's got these really cool dial things from this Sky Island that no one else should have, he should be able to create weapons for Nami and him and Chopper that'll blow people's minds down the line. That's my theory. going forward for Usopp as the inventor man of the crew. I still think that it would be kind of cool if Usopp did have a gun, because I know he's the sniper, but I know he uses a slingshot. But I just thought the crew needs a gunslinger. I hope down the line, I mean, it'd be weird if they got a gunslinger after Usopp at this point, since he's the sniper. It'd be kind of cool if he was an actual gunslinger, because when you think about pirates, you do think about they had pistols of sorts, you know? I kind of imagine at least one member of the crew to carry a pistol, or I don't know. I'm a big fan of pirates, so I just would like to see that. I like that everybody on the crew has their own role. I'm loving Nico Robin as part of this crew. She's really developing, now that they're going to different islands, she's developing the archaeological part of it, I guess you could say. She's looking for things in history. She actually finds, like, a marking from Goldie Roger at some point during the story. Like, he was here. Like, Goldie Roger was here. How did he get to Skypiea? And I don't know. It seems weird. Skypiea seems weird to me because it kind of almost feels like you're playing a video game and you're on the Grand Line, and then there's this DLC mission in the sky that has nothing to do with really I mean, it does have something to do with the Grand Line, but it doesn't feel like it does, because it doesn't feel like we're dealing with Blackbeard. We're not dealing with Buggy the Clown. Ace had a cover story going on during this whole thing, but he wasn't involved. A lot of the characters that are involved with our main story were kind of pushed off to the side for the Skypiea arc. And to me, it didn't feel like if you're in a video game and there's extra missions you can do, but you don't have to do them to complete the game. That's what this felt like. It felt like a side mission that can help you increase your level up your characters and whatnot, but it doesn't feel like it was quote-unquote necessary to do to continue on our journey. They just thought, well, this would be cool. There's an island in the sky, possibly. And if it's not, then we'll probably all die. I don't know. To me, it didn't feel like a necessary mission, but it was a very fun mission. I liked the enemy, Enel, or Enru, the kami of this world, this evil man. But I still don't think he's as cool to me as Arlong was. Arlong is still my top favorite villain we've dealt with so far. I think it would go Arlong, Buggy, and then Enru. Enru's pretty cool. His electrical abilities, he seemed almost godly in his powers. And, how can you fight somebody who can turn into electricity at will almost in an instant? How do you do that? And I did get spoiled months ago when I started this journey in One Piece about a fight with an opponent who can control electricity, and the reason he couldn't hurt Luffy was because he was a rubber man. Someone had spoiled it for me, but it still was kind of cool to see how it played out. I knew that we were getting to that, especially once I learned that Enel, Enru, was the guy that can control the electricity. I was like, okay, well, this is going to be interesting, because I know he's going to... He basically kicked everybody's ass one by one until Luffy gets there, and then they find out he can't affect Luffy because he's made of rubber. And I thought, man, that's going to be kind of lame, because as soon as Luffy realizes he can't get hurt by him, he's just going to knock him out and win. Not how it happened. It was like 15 more chapters of fight with him, which I thought was really cool. I thought they played it out just the right amount. But before we even get to Enru, they had to deal with the divine soldiers. They had to deal with the priests, or the vassals, who are basically Enru's generals, the four vassals who control different parts of his holy land, and they all had different fights that involved that. There was a guy named Satori that had this ball challenge that Luffy Sanji and Usopp had to deal with, and that was really cool. I think Sanji got a lot of cool development in combat and just being a badass during this whole arc, who is pretty awesome because Sanji's my second favorite character. So that was cool. Freaking even Chopper got to go head to head with the vassal Gadatsu and kicked his ass. That was dope. Each vassal had a badass fight with somebody. And also, while the god Kami is fighting the Straw Hats, at the same time, the Shandians, these basically Native Americans of this world, are also around trying to get their land back and take their shit back that was taken from them hundreds of years ago. And also we learned that it's all connected to Nolan the Liar that we learned about in the Jaya arc, who had visited Jaya years ago before it was part of it was shot into the sky, which created Skypiea. So it was pretty wild. It was a pretty crazy story. I actually am not a big fan of long, drawn-out backstories of things that has nothing to do with our main cast of characters. Like the Nolan the Liar backstory really had nothing to do with any of the Straw Hats, and so I thought it would be a drag to read. But really, it wasn't. I had a good time with that little mini story, honestly. It was at least 3 chapters, maybe longer. And we learned everything about it, and it all connected the dots way back with Jaya, with the monkey guys, and the other guy the guy related to Nolan, And that was kind of cool to learn how this all came about. We learned there's a bell that started this whole thing, a golden bell in the sky that hasn't been seen in years at the tippity top of this beanstalk. It's wild. It's crazy. It's nuts. We get to see Zoro be a badass multiple times during this arc. This is my one issue with One Piece, at least so far. I love it, the story. It's one of my favorite animes so far. Favorite mangas I've ever read at this point. But nobody is dying. Not even the side characters that are just part of this arc are dying. Konas's father almost gets eviscerated. Well, looked like he got eviscerated by one of Enel's lightning bolts from the sky. And it seemed like he made the ultimate sacrifice to save his daughter and save Skypiea or whatnot. And in the end, chapters later, we find out he's okay and he's not even hurt. And that's just an example of a side character from this particular arc that happened to survive because. Not only that, we have Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy taking fatal injuries over and over again just in this arc. I can understand if they took one fatal injury and kept on going and found a way to gut through it and then got some medical attention from their white mage, their medic, Chopper. But that's really not how it went. Chopper was knocked out at some point, and he wasn't available to help them heal, really. He healed them occasionally, but at some point he got into a big fight and he was out for the count. And it seemed like every time somebody got hurt, they just kept getting back up. And there would be multiple warnings of, especially with the leader of the Shandians, they'd say, if you use that super dial any more times, you could die or you will die. I think they were pretty strict on it. Don't use that dial too many times or you could die. And yes, he got medical attention from Chopper in the end, but he used this thing like 4 or 5 times after the first time when they told him, okay, you got one more, don't waste it. It just felt like they kept teasing death over and over and over. And to me, that gets a little old. I guess it's not as bad when you're reading the manga, but I can only imagine. I haven't watched the anime version of this yet. I will. I can only imagine how often they're going to drag out those sacrifices only to reveal that nobody died. I'm not even 100% sure if any of the priests, the vassals, died at all. And I know Enel or Enru survived. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Why? I can understand not killing any of the Straw Hats just yet. I feel like we've just started this adventure. I feel like we're just now getting going on this adventure. We have our core crew now that Nico's in the team. Feels perfect. Feels like we got a good team going on here. Even if they don't add anybody else, we've got a good, solid Straw Hat crew right now that can go on this adventure. I don't expect them to kill any of them at this point. We are just learning about them. There's still so much to learn about a lot of them going forward. So that's fine. But there were plenty of characters that could have been killed in this fight. Like the leader of the Shandians, like Conus's father, like Conus, that I feel could have made the ultimate sacrifice, and it could have meant something just for this particular story, or just for the reader in general, and it just got really old, them teasing deaths. Not even the villains were dying, and they don't... If they did, they didn't make a big deal out of it, at least in the manga, and I think they should have at least have one character who's not afraid to kill. I think at some point Nico Robin might have broke someone's neck with her cool abilities. Nico's a badass. She's definitely my favorite female character so far in the story. I really, really like Nico Robin being a part of the Straw Hats. She really brings a different personality to the crew. I didn't feel that way with Chopper, who kind of... He's got his own unique personality, but he kind of tags along with whoever's around as more... I don't know. It feels like he needs more of being him. Yes, he's the medic of the crew, but what else is he got going on for himself? What does he want in life other than being that? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's all he's got going on. You know, he tags along with Usopp. There was a cool time in this arc where he got to have a really cool fight, and that was cool. So maybe it's just a slow burn to that. Whereas Nico Robin feels like a fully fleshed out character who doesn't take shit from nobody, and I really appreciate that. And she kicks ass. She does. I love her ability with the summoning arms and shit out of other people, out of the ground. I feel like it could be almost limitless what she can do with that. I'm not sure how powerful it really is. She only uses it when necessary. She's really a get shit done kind of character, and I appreciate that, especially with all the goofballs we got going on here, who I also really love. But let's get down to the brass tacks here. We got Enru, this godlike man, electrical god man, eviscerating characters like Zoro and Sanji and Usopp and threatening to kill Nami and whatnot. But they keep surviving somehow. There was a really cool moment where Nami was pretending to go along with his plan because she didn't want to die. And she's like, I'll just serve you as a follower. And to me, I was like, is she really serious? Like, if all her friends were killed, would she just hop on to the next crew? I could believe that. But there was a really cool moment with Sanji where he goes and saves Nami. And it makes it seem like he's making the ultimate sacrifice. And he gets shocked to all hell and survives. And he says, well, I was looking for a light for my cigarette. Oh, and drop dead. And then he drops unconscious. Like, I thought that was really cool. I think Sanji had some really cool moments in here that I cannot wait to see in the anime. Just because he seemed like such a knight in shining armor for Nami. He's like, because they had those tests going on. I think at one point he's like, I have a challenge of love or something, because he wanted to save Nami and Nico, or at least be there for them, which was kind of cool. And also there was a really funny moment early on during the saga where Nami ends up in just a bikini top going around on the white ocean with her little jet ski. But then she ends up putting a shirt on, and everybody's worried because the crew gets taken by a giant lobster. But all Sanji cares about is that Nami put a shirt on. And I thought that was pretty funny when reading it. And I like those little jokes. And yes, he's a giant pervert, but he's also a gentleman. He does it right in a lot of ways, and I appreciate that. I think Sanji's pretty cool. He's a badass. He doesn't need no weapons. He's got his feet, yo. Zoro didn't seem to have any new attacks that I could think of that stood out, like he did at the Baroque Works arc when he took on number 1, Dabones, or Dabones, I don't know what his name is, but he cut through steel and whatnot. Zoro to me seems like a character that shouldn't give a shit about murdering villains in any way, shape, or form, but every time he gets involved with one of these villains, he just knocks them out, at least from what I can tell. Anytime someone dies at this point during the story, I need it to be confirmed that they're actually dead, because every time I think a character's dead, they get back up again, or we see them down the line, like in a cover story, and you think, what? I thought they were dead. I guess they were just knocked out hard. And that gets real old. That's all. That's all I'm going to say about that anymore. No more. I really do hope, fingers crossed, and it's a sad hope, that one of the Straw Hats makes the ultimate sacrifice down the line. They has to. It's unbelievable to think that all these characters who are going to be put in these deadly situations, island after island, that not one of them will at least lose a leg. I don't know. Almost, they need to die. One of them needs to die. It doesn't need to be a main one. It could be, I don't know, Chopper, somebody. Sanji, when he made the save on Nami, I was like, man, this would have been epic. I mean, I don't want Sanji to die because he's so cool and we just starting to get to know him. But imagine if he had died saving Nami there. I guess you couldn't go into a lighthearted story after that, is the only issue. And I don't want them to die yet. But I would have been cool for Conus' father to stay dead. I think they should have left that alone. I thought that would have been cool. I was cool with her surviving and saving her people. She went to Skypiea to warn everybody that Enel was going to destroy the whole island, and it all made sense, and they all escaped, sort of. The Shandians were fighting. Whitebeard was fighting. It was nuts. I don't think anybody of note was actually hurt or killed, which was a little annoying. But I'm going to move past that right now, right here, right now. Enel fought everybody in the Straw Hats, pretty much. And he got involved with at least everybody at least once, or showed his face to them at least once. And almost all of them got electrocuted almost at least once or twice. I think Zoro might have been shocked or lightning bolted 3 times. It at least felt that way to me. But when Luffy finally shows up, who was trapped inside of a snake, he thought it was a cave, which was pretty funny. He finally shows up, and he is unaffected by any electrical attacks. I thought that was pretty smart, pretty cool. Yes, it was spoiled for me, but I thought, wow, who would actually think that? I wish I wasn't spoiled, so then when it happened, I'd be like, whoa, didn't expect that to happen. But then they went on to have a crazy fight, because Enel can also create a trident or something, and he stabs Luffy at some point. He was able to manipulate gold and form a giant golden metal ball on one of Luffy's arms, which ends up being the thing he uses to ring the golden bell, which is pretty epic. Also smashing Enel into it. It was pretty wild. And at some point they needed to cut down a giant beanstalk so that Luffy and Nami could skate across it straight towards Enel's ship and him. That was nuts. It took the combined efforts of pretty much everybody who was still awake on the crew to knock it down. But Zoro got to be a big part of that. And he also, again, got electrocuted, but he survived. That was epic. I really can't... I don't know why they didn't kill this dude, this evil commie fella. They shoulda. Because if he ever comes back to Skypiea, or they at least put him in some kind of sea prison, then he could use his abilities, something, put him somewhere where he can be held, because he is so epically powerful. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of more powerful villains down the line coming that could probably kick his ass. I'm not sure. But I think that he's still a danger for society. He's psychotic. He's got a god complex going on because of his abilities. And can you blame him? He can control lightning. He is electricity. It's wild. I'd really like to see what would happen if he fought Ace. I mean, he can become fire versus lightning. I don't know, but it would be epic. I think that'd be insane. I really wish Ace was still a part of the crew. I know he was just there for a hot minute. Get it? Hot minute. It would have been cool to see Ace be a part of the Straw Hats. I mean, I guess it doesn't make sense because he's part of the Whitebeard Pirates, and he might outshine Luffy, who's his brother. And I guess that wouldn't really work. That's fine. That's cool. Whatever. I hope we get to see more of Ace, is what I'm saying. He's pretty dope. But they defeat Enru. They have a big party. The Shandians and the Skypiea people decide to be friends. Like I said, we learn all this backstory on Nolan the Liar, who wasn't really a liar. It was wild. It was a crazy story, and if you haven't gotten this far in the story, if you don't even want to watch this much of the story, just watch this little arc. You can pretty much just watch this whole arc and have a good time and not need to know much of the backstory at all. They have a big party, and the next morning, this was one of my favorite parts of this whole arc, Luffy wakes everybody up. He's like, let's steal all the gold and run away. And I think they go and steal a bunch of gold, and they start running away, and I thought that was so pirate of Luffy to do this, even though they were going to give them a shit ton more gold than they stole. But them running away with it was just... It made me happy. It made me smile. It made me think this is still a pirate adventure that is just beginning. I love that Luffy is just a big pirate mark and just wants to be a pirate. And there is a gray area there. Of course, he doesn't want to kill people, it seems. He's not a crazy psychopath or anything, but he wants to live the adventure of being a pirate, and I appreciate that because I want that as well. Well, I want to live the adventure of being a One Piece pirate because they seem like they're having much more fun than the pirates of real history. But yeah, I'm Mr. Morfetto. What did you think of the Skypiea arc of One Piece? I have no idea where the story is going next. I really do not. I have zero knowledge going forward. The biggest thing that was spoiled for me was the electric rubber gimmick with Enru and Luffy. So now it's truly going to be nuts because I don't know what's next. I know we have Blackbeard on the horizon. I know there's a Doflamingo character that a lot of people have been talking about, at least on the internet. When I see images pop up on Facebook, I see a lot of him, so I know that's a thing. So there's so much to learn, and there's a lot more to learn, like with Nico Robin and these weird scriptures she's reading. I don't know, there's so much to do, and I'm so excited, and I hope big things happen, and I hope a big sacrifice happens, not necessarily from the Straw Hats, but from somebody important. I want to see some major sacrifice happen. I want something to turn this story on its head. I know we're after the One Piece, and I know everybody has their own personal goals, but we need to start making steps towards that because it doesn't feel like we haven't really brought up the idea of getting the One Piece. I mean, you'd think that the One Piece would have been possibly hidden in Sky Island. What a crazy place to hide the One Piece, but it wasn't up there. I don't think anybody even brought up the idea that it might be up there. Even though, to me, it'd be like, man, if he was here, maybe, possibly. I don't know. Please subscribe to the Mr. Morfetto YouTube page for more One Piece anime. My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball, Naruto goodness. I will talk to you later.